I say time and time again that for us it's not about actually performing and like winning, and this makes it for us. It's more about like defending our pride, because quite frankly we're supposed to be the best team in Europe, and this is where we see ourselves to a certain extent. So I do think it's kind of important. I don't think it's going to be the most important thing in our lives, but defending our pride is something we want to do, and we will do.
Well, we'll see if they can bring it back in game number 2. Welcome everybody back to the European LCS Spring Finals. In a one-game lead, heading into game number 2.
And what a start.
Oh yeah.
From G2, you know, fast pace, they get great counter pick in the mid lane with the LeBlanc for perks, and he was just all over the map.
Yep.
Making big plays, of course, Trick showing up as well. We're going to have to see changes coming into this pick and ban phase from Origen. We need to see a bit more aggression, I feel, either from AD carry or from mid lane. Kalista down bottom lane, or a Lissandra Karma pick around mid lane.
Or some punish somehow on Kikis, who was continuously being pushed in that top lane. Remember, he was playing in complete fog of war. No vision around him, because Amazing had complete control of the deep enemy red jungle. He had SOAS kind of isolated in that matchup. Kikis was playing 1v2 multiple times. There's a world where he gets dove over and over and over again, and suddenly that teleport's not available, and then SOAS can use his teleport advantage potentially to go down the bottom lane. Maybe that's a route that Origen's going to go into more, because even if they go for some of these heavy bot lane matchups, G2 have shown that they're kind of the superior team when it comes to reacting with teleport.
Yeah, well, we will have to see if they're able to mix things up. Looks like we're about ready to head into those pick and bans. Guys, in terms of what they might pick up a little bit different this time around, what can they do against the Maokai if it does end up being the same choice?
Give the Maokai, I'm fine with that, and play Echo into it. I just want to see something like Lissandra mid for Power of Evil. He played it as well before with double teleport, and again, it gives Origen a chance to react to these aggressive moves from G2, and it gives them also some pushing power at least.
And Origen have already reacted. They banned out the LeBlanc third, but they're still banning out that Nidalee on the blue side. And they're obviously showing that they're still afraid of Perkz' rise. So he's putting a lot of pressure on this pick ban already. And maybe that is exactly why Origen have chosen blue side so often, just that they could keep banning out these mid lane champions and one comfort pick. And then just still first pick a strong jungler for Amazing.
And again, this whole Nidalee banning, we talked about it. Trick is more than happy taking Graves. So again, G2 can take 2 strong picks now, which is not a jungler, and just get Graves in the next rotation. It's gonna be exactly the same. Obviously, the Braum Sivir that worked so well for them.
Yep.
I'm still expecting, you know, Kalista, Thresh, Lissandra are 3 picks I would like to see from OG, saying, you know what, boys? Let's match some of this aggression here. Could also be a Bard instead of the Thresh if you want to play that. Just get a ranged support.
Yeah, it's rough to play that into 2 spell shields. With Thresh, you can actually find an opening to at least bait one of them, or you just whack away. But yeah, any pushing lane could even play something like a Karma. That's just really annoying to deal with. I don't think that's Mithy's style though. So Bard or Thresh is something I would see more likely for him to play.
Right, we know Power of Evil plays the Karma in mid lane, played it really well, and actually got banned away after he pulled it out in the semi-final. So we're seeing what we talked about from Origen now. Ranged support. Echo top lane, obviously, is a no-brainer for SOAS here. It's more about, you know, hopefully the Lissandra pick coming from mid, and then like a Kalista for Sven in that bottom lane. And you say, you know what, boys? We're going to play standard lanes here, and we're going to match what you're trying to do in the early game.
Freed up that Trundle this time around, but G2 had already locked their support in, so unless they want to put Kikis on, that looks like that may not be the case this time around. G2 still looking to hunt down their mid, and of course their jungler, and it's okay, we do get to see the Trundle this time, and Trick comfortably goes back on the Graves.
So we got 2 for 2 on the side of Origen. Will it be Lissandra, or will it be a Karma maybe? Unless they say, you know, if we can actually run scaling now that we have a strong 2v2 lane, then Orianna is suddenly an option one more time.
I would still like to see Lissandra here though.
Yeah.
It's kind of a matchup that doesn't lose too hard. It generates push in most scenarios, and then you have a really strong top lane duo in terms of damage, you know, with the Echo Kindred, not too much CC. But the bot lane outplay potential, Thresh Kalista is such an enjoyable match to see played by phenomenal players like Mithy and Sven, and it can absolutely murder a Sivir, because the whole reason why Kalista is kind of good into Sivir is that you can't react to Rend at all. You have to guess, and once your spell shield's down, oh, you're done for. Because then Kalista could just keep stacking at will and eventually slow you down whenever she wants, so it is really a big mind game.
So Origen saying, we want to see another counter pick coming out against this Oriana, we have a better early game now with the strong 2v2 lane. High chance that G2 maybe wants to swap out of that lane with the Kalista
Oh,
and
definitely
Thresh.
so. We'll see a swap initiated, hopefully, by G2 Esports.
Oh, all right.
So this is what we
Let's pick a card.
quickly mentioned in the last game, getting globals against Oriana. You played a 1-3-1 game instead of opting into big team fights.
And you get 2 for the price of 1. You have the teleport if you run it on TF, as well as the ultimate, and that is actually something that can shut down some of these aggressive lanes. So when Kalista Thresh does go for the engage, you can send your TF to the bottom lane.
Yeah, there are 2 options with summoners if you're TF. Either you run teleport or you run ignite, and you're a lot more aggressive in side lanes. In terms of the skirmish, you will have either 1v1 or 2v2 with your jungler joining. The teleport is better for laning phase technically, because you can TP back into lane early on, and it gives a little bit more safety, and you play that massive global comp here, trying to play around the Oriana, who's very slow at moving from the mid lane, who's not doing a good job when it comes to getting to these side lanes. Kind of runs in and then runs away.
It's still extremely tricky for TF to port down to a Thresh Kalista lane, because both of them can help each other escape, and there is no right target to focus, kind of, especially post 6. And it's very easy for Thresh to telegraph the hook on the TF appearance, so you can get one shot and they can get out. So it's a very tricky lane to play against.
Yeah, this one's definitely going to be tough. Origen, after going down in game at number 1, 35 minutes, and it was all G2 all the time. If you guys think OG can bring this one back here, keep on tweeting, keep those fingers afloat. Hashtag OG win, or if G2 are going to go up 2-0. Hashtag G2 win, of course, is the one. You see the comps on your screen. The bans didn't change too much, and a little bit of adapt incoming from OG, and G2 following suit. Can't wait to see how this one shakes out.
Yeah, once again, a lot of expected picks. You know, the Braum, Sivir, first rotation, Kindred, 4 amazing. It's more about now what Sven can do on Kalista and what Perkz can do on a Twisted Fate.
Yeah. Always adapting in those best of 5s. That's what it is all about. So we will load up right here onto the Rift. You're getting the scenic tour of it right now. If Origen can maybe take the title today, they could do what Amazing said and prove they are the best team in Europe. But G2 are already trying to make their stamp on that particular one. Here we are, in game 2.
Very interesting. You guys probably didn't see this, but right now we see a carbon copy of level 1, but this time the path for Soas' escape to the top side was kind of being shut off by Hybrid and Trick, not Emperor this time. And then they're going to invade, hopefully to force Soas to the top side, but he's already left that brush. So this is mini adaptation, because game 1, Soas was in this brush and he escaped to the top side. G2 this time trying to trap him, but Origen was ready for a repeat of the same play.
Slips right out of the net, so G2 back away again. Don't get any deep wards themselves, but Origen have got ideas of their own on that one.
Well, we talked about this with G2 and looking for a lane swap. Because not only are you in a bad situation if you get a 2v2 in terms of your bottom lane, but also when you have a Twisted Fate, you love these open lanes, you know, towers being down. It's so easy for you to chase and gank these kills. Gank the kills, gank the champions for the kills, Crepo.
Hey man, you can gank kills for me.
I guess you can gank some kills as well.
Hopefully G2 is going to gank some kills with the double teleport. Long lanes, leave lane wars behind, you know, just like the Rock Tigers like to do.
Well, they found Hybrid.
He's at the remains of his Gromp. Mithy and Sven kind of invading.
Losing the early push.
They lose the early push, but it's all a matchup about trade advantage, and eventually Sivir kind of gets out sustained.
You get those standard lanes yet again. Hybrid and Emperor.
They're not down any CS though. All the creeps are still alive, so this actually, in the grand scope, I think doesn't really achieve anything.
And now we see a play we see often from European bot lanes. If you get that early push, you clear the wave and then you go back and you do a Grump to try and get an experience advantage. Take down the Grump, but then you return once the lane has been pushed back up to you towards your tower. Mithy is on his way to try and stop it.
He's on a one-man mission.
He's got the vision. Oh, he's spotted by Emperor and Hybrid here. Here we go. Not going to be able to harass this one out. Gromp's taken level 2 for Emperor Hybrid. All the mini games.
But you see that Sven also knows that this play is happening, and he's not panic pushing out as well. He's just stacking a wave. That makes it very tough, because if Mithy then lands a hook once this wave becomes massive, you can actually get punished very hard if you're Hybrid and you're kind of defending Emperor for some trades.
Standard stuff across the board for those Keystone Masteries. See how Sven and Mithy are able to handle this bottom lane. We talked a little bit about that 2v2 matchup. It does seem preferable for Origen.
Yeah, I like the start though from G2, getting that early push and getting a Grump as well, but it's still a difficult lane for them to play. Emperor is trying to just farm and use all his mana.
Hang on, see a little trade. And that's the hard thing about Sivir. There's no spells generating you extra mana from spell shields here.
Yeah, level 2 fights. Mithy is just going balls to the wall with this one, but they don't want to go in on it.
Yeah, and usually something that we saw, I think, Forgiven do is when he played against the Corki, you just walk up to the wave when caster AD carries have to use their spells to wave clear, you get a free spell shield, which is free mana. But if you avoid hitting Sivir early game, you're in a trade heavier matchup. She used all her mana very early.
Hybrid was not afraid to go for it, but this time Mithy grabs him on the return hook once again. They just keep bloodying each other, but no kills just yet. Trick making his way down bottom side, but he's not going to go for the dive.
And you can clearly see how G2 are looking at Origen as a team who plays around the bot lane a lot and has a very, very strong 2v2 lane with Sven and Mithy, so they're constantly using Trick to hover around bot and mid lane because he knows if there's a fight happening, I need to be there to stop my bot lane from dying. They're going in again.
There always is that fight. The heals are popping, and so are the Braum passives. A little bit of shield on Mithy. They hook in Emperor, but suddenly Trick comes out of the bushes. And Mithy just narrowly dodges, ended the line. Amazing's going to tag his way in now. Emperor and Hybrid both very low. The Wolf's Frenzy's on. Trick tries to push him back here. Emperor is just one shot away from being first blooded, but they aren't in range to do it.
This is what we just talked about, you know, Trick staying around that bottom lane, knowing there are so many small trades happening. If there is a chance for him to sneak in, either save the bot lane or get an early kill, he will take it.
But we also see just how tilted this matchup is towards Achilles and Thresh, because in any long extended exchange, those rend stacks will stack up, and it's impossible to predict the rend. Therefore, the reaction from Emperor is actually to panic push, but he's actually dropping CS in the process, going out of mana and then losing trades on the back end of that, even though his jungler's around to hover, and that's why we see a discrepancy here. 40 CS for Sven, and Emperor doesn't even want to base because he's not on a good gold time just yet. He wants to soak up some minions here, so losing a lot of tempo. He desperately wants maybe that pickaxe or building for the Complex Warhammer.
Yeah, he wants the Warhammer, Essence Reaver for sure on Sivir, so you want a double longsword on first back. Maybe even get a call in there if you can, and get a little bit for him. He doesn't have enough to get all three though.
So he's going to get a little bit of time to try and even up that farm differential. Another player who's been having a little bit of trouble in the CS department has been Perks. He finds himself down about 10. It was double digits just a moment ago versus Power of Evil.
Such a bad back for Emperor because he tried to see if he can reach a BF, but he's still 200 gold away from it, so he's gonna have to settle for Warhammer for himself even.
Oh, imagine if Mithy cancels.
Oh, and light spell shield.
Yeah, now Sven is back in the lane.
Yeah, this is complete control. This is where you lose your access to your entire deep blue jungle if Mithy and Amazing choose to invade it and drop some wards. There's so many plays to be made, and it's just so hard for the Emperor to fight his way out of this one.
Soaz. Kikis takes a bite out of him. Oh, he throws the pillar down. Soaz is actually taking quite a lot of punishment here, and that's the flash forward by Kikis. First blood.
Kikis on Trundle is very scary. In the semifinal, he did exactly the same thing against Gamsu. He just solo killed him 1v1 very early on in the game. He knows the damage he can deal. He knows when he can take the trades. Great play. And he's saving the early game for G2 right now with that one little play, because bot lane is losing, mid lane is losing. Now top lane is winning slightly for G2.
Definitely the breather they needed. 6 minutes and a half is what it is on the clock, but it is dead even in gold, and that's the first blood gold really canceling out the CS differential.
Yeah, Power People has done a fantastic job just contesting CS. That's all you have to do against Twisted Fate here. Every time he walks up, you just want to walk up and poke him a little bit. And eventually, he's just afraid of the all-in, because his ultimate obviously does not bring any combat stats really to the table. And we need to wait for him to get to a side lane here. And maybe that side lane can be the top lane, though, with Kikis winning. Because a TF with 2 losing side lanes is absolutely useless.
I think when you play Twisted Fate, you either go to the side lane yourself. If you go Abyssal into Lich Bane, you can have Ignite, you're very strong in the 1v1 2v2s, then on 2 items, then you can play a lot of side lane pressure on your own. If you have a split pushing champion, you can actually sit mid with the Twisted Fate, have great wave clear, and then camp that split pusher, which is the Trundle in this case. And with Kikis getting that early kill, fantastic start for him. If they can snowball it further with Perks coming in. For now though, it's Origen going to top side. Should be called that Oriana has randomly left the mid lane, which doesn't happen very often. Kikis is still staying pretty far out.
Yeah, he just dodges the convergence, but he does get pulled in by the shockwave, throws the pillar down, but he won't last for long. Soaz exacts his revenge with some assists.
That's good communication here. Flashes down instant shockwave here from Power of Evil. Not too fussed by that one loss he had in the first game. And they just pull the trigger immediately, free kill.
Very surprised Kikis didn't expect, I guess, Oriana to show up. Not sure if G2 called that she had gone back to base, maybe, after she left the mid lane, but those kind of plays normally won't work. A control mage roaming from her mid lane to the top lane, getting a kill.
This is already not a normal series, but I think we knew that going into this one. So 1-to-1 now on the kills. Perkz and Trick trying to go a little bit deep into the jungle here, maybe establish some vision or just take away some camps as Power will get himself the blue buff. Lanes continue, standard as they go, but G2 are feeling the burn in 2 out of 3.
And obviously, as we talked about, when you run teleport here for Perkz, it is good too to get back to lane if you want to try and push it out, use your entire mana pool, take some early trades, and TP back to lane. But it offers no kill pressure in this 1v1. So Power Weevil can always walk up to minions and just clear them out and take trades with the Twisted Fate.
Especially because there's cleanse. And the reason for that is that Twisted Fates usually, they like to at least either have the threat of locking a card or simply lock a card, place it on you, stun you, throw wildcards out, and then back off. And now Twisted Fate has won the trade without you being able to react. If you have a line-based skill shot, he'll likely sidestep it because he's in control of the play. But Oriana can just cleanse out of that immediately, auto-attack QW, and you're slowed, so she can't get another QW off in the chase, and then suddenly you're suffering so much that you're actually under kill pressure. That's why the cleanse really tilts that matchup here in favor of Oriana.
Yep. Definitely crucial since they took it instead of the other TP. There is the TP advantage that G2 have, but it's going to be a while before they really can make any use of that. And you see another Oriana combo landing onto Perkz, and now he will throw out the Destiny Gate, heads himself towards Mithy because that quick flash prevented Sven, and there's the pullback on the Fate's Call. They try to turn their attention to Amazing, but now Exhaust is on. Trick a little bit low in this one, but he's hanging firm, and Amazing takes the lantern to safety. Origen still looking for the collapse here as Hybrid and Emperor are gonna have to flash and hop over the wall.
Yeah, we see the power of the Fate's Call in combination with the Thresh being pulled out. Mithy swings a little wide on his re-entry into orbit, kind of misses his target, gets a knockup, but that's why it's so hard for Twisted Fate to kind of get those ganks off, because not only that can that happen every time. Fate's Call has a lower cooldown than Gate.
Yeah, now we see Saucy move from top lane saying, I'm not gonna opt into any trades where TF could have joined before that fight happened, so he already had moved towards the mid lane. And I think that play was just a reaction from G2 because Perkz had already moved towards the top side. Like, all right, we're ready here, we have the trundle, we can TP in on this one. Obviously, Oriana cannot follow, but then he sees the invader on bottom side, has to go in for a very difficult play against the Thresh Kalista. And in the end, G2 gets nothing, uses one ulti from Perkz, and lost a lot of it.
And I just love the lane ward that Origen have placed right now, and I think they're aware of it. They're pinging it out on the map right now, G2. But it's just constant pressure for teleport. Because at no point can Sivir play the way she wants to play, which is just AFK shove. Because there's just a ward behind her in lane. So right now they're trying to maybe bait the teleport and collapse with Trick. But otherwise, Soaz has free entry here. Maybe that's what G2 is trying to do. Bait the teleport and have Kikis ready to answer. Because they're playing very far up. The ward actually seems to be swept out, so it actually disappeared right now.
We can easily see a 5v3 or 5v2 dive from G2 on bottom side with double TP coming in. Again, no response from Oriana, who's sitting mid. Mid tower is already gone. That makes it harder, though, to push it all the way up for G2. If Oriana can keep pushing mid, she keeps control of where Perkz is going. Right now, he's trying to steal away Raptor Cam.
Does manage to secure it. Amazing does take some damage in return for it.
Second red card on Amazing, though. I think he'd go for the stun card to guarantee the wild cards.
I really like that play from Origen before, though. Moving into mid lane, investing so much to try and take down that mid tower. Because as we just talked about, once you get mid tower, you can push the TF even further back, and it's very hard for him to then join side lanes unnoticed.
That generally has been traditionally the counter to globals, though. If you're in a global disadvantage, you just bring the fight to the global, so he can't really join the fight. And he's weaker generally in combat, whether it's being down on the summoner, or just in the case of TF, being down the summoner and having an ultimate that doesn't really contribute to these fights.
As Kikis now might find out, he doesn't want to take the 1v2, but that teleport quickly changed the minds of Origen. They do cancel it up, so nothing ventured, nothing gained, I suppose.
So Perkz TPing in instantly, Kikis then flashes away. Didn't want to take the 2v2, even though maybe Perkz wanted to do that. Instead, they lose a few more summoners for G2, and Origen is doing fine in this early game.
Still fighting it out. Soaz is able to put the hurt back onto Kikis this time around. So, yeah, OG definitely having a much, much better game. Even though the gold is pretty much bang on even, they are managing to get the pressure where they need it.
Yeah, and obviously Perkz has been slowed down quite a bit in his build. Soaz once again, trading. But the build we're going to see from Perks is Distortion into Abyssal, Distortion Enchant, of course, then Abyssal Scepter and Lichbane for him. Once he gets those two items, he is very strong. Up until that point, it's mainly about CC and locking down targets for the rest of G2 to kill.
The CS margins are getting a little closer though here. Emperor's still sitting on that 30, but Perks kind of caught up with Tower Evil overall. So if he does join a fight and he brings Origen and numbers disadvantage, G2 can easily, you know, get ahead in this game by just one good global play.
Might get back into it, and G2 are going to be looking for that global play. There is the gate, and Mithy right in the box, and they turn their attention on to Sven to try and take him down. Kikis clubs him to death, and now Mithy's going to follow. G2 get a quick 2, but they get punished on Trick. Still 2 for 1, not too bad. As 14 minutes have elapsed on the clock, they're still looking to fight this one. So as he's backing away.
Good play in the end here by G2, but comes fairly late. Yep. Honestly, they've been having these double teleports available for such a long time, and they were just waiting for Origen to push that bot lane. Had just recalled themselves, so they had to wait, lose a lot of tower HP at the same time, but they're just going for Sven straight away. Just go for the Kalista. Can obviously a face call yourself would be very weird.
Would be a little OP here. Obviously, you never can go for Mithy here. If you can stun lock the Kalista, you can obviously go for her. Later in the game, it becomes even more tricky when it gets a Quicksilver. Interesting that Mithy went for the hook on Trick and not try to like hook Perks out of his ultimate right there and just prevent him from stunning Kalista, because then Sven can technically cap downwards in the lane. Oh, Perks.
Yeah, he's just gone. Now they know what it feels like on OG side in the last game.
Told you,
he ganged up on
Perks.
They got him.
Pretty
Heck,
sure
he's watching
Mithy,
the backstage.
Just walk straight up mid lane, just flash engage onto him, pulled him in, and Peck is sitting backstage watching.
Yeah, watch me. Like one of your French girls.
Still gives a nice little high five to the crowd. Let's see how's it all going though, because OG with this lead right now, with this not quite comfortable position, are still leaving some flanks unattended. You see Kikis in the top side trying to push down, but there's a big collapse coming onto him, so we'll see if they're able to get it done.
He will get tower, but he might die for it.
Yeah, it might be worth. Oh, Perks, he is caught again. The gold card isn't even used now. And Amazing gets out to safety. What a play.
What a fantastic hook from Mithy here. He completely reads it spot perfect here. And then Origen looking to get Kikis on the other side here, completely outplaying G2's global strategy here. That's obviously the risk when you run that Twisted Fate. Once you land, it's super telegraphed, and against a good Thresh player, you will just get straight up hooked.
And Origen pushing down bottom lane will get that tower. Trick getting caught.
Hard to miss that hook, that's for sure. Mithy does
catching.
land it, but he turns around the damage now. Soaz might try to take him out. Yeah, it doesn't really matter what it is called, because Trick was taking some serious hurting there. As Amazing gets his Lamster spied on. Trick is standing right in the midst of it, but they tag in Soaz and Power of Evil to get the kill.
Some great plays from Origen now. Catching out Perks when he TPs in, obviously punishing Kikis top side. They did lose tower. This is the play before where Mithy flashed this onto Perks. He has no flash at this point. He's a Twisted Fate. He's never gonna escape. Easy kill for Origen. And I really like the fact that they're forcing G2 to react to so many plays.
Speaking of reactions, Sven with quick flash fingers is trying to kite out Hybrid. Still doing it. Look at all the spears he's sticking in him. Perks looking for the chase down. Gets the gold card. They go for this dive, and they do get a return kill.
Yeah, very late on that exhaust. Ends up using it on Hybrid. The Origen, a much larger impact so far from Mithy and Sven on this game with that Thresh pick, with the Kalista combo as well. Really turning around some situations in their favor, and that's exactly what they needed.
Well, if we just go back a few minutes, G2...
Yeah, we're going back.
We are going back a few minutes to watch the replay. Sick timing from Mithy, knowing exactly where Perks appears here, hooks him in.
Let's call it a little bit of disrespect from Perks too. Against a good Thresh player, I don't think you should attempt that. It's bold, without a Zonias at least.
Testing Mithy.
How good is he?
Test fast, I think.
Are you gonna hit this one?
Confirm, this guy can play Thresh.
Okay, not doing this a second time, but again, G2 were looking to make that play in bottom lane, and now Soaz is looking to do exactly the same.
Yeah, might do it. And Emperor, he defensively hunted, and Soaz still chases him down. It's starting to get sloppy.
Why is that?
They're making up. They're making up for what we lacked yesterday, which is a lot of bloodiness and kills and a little bit of chaos. So they're shoving it all into one series. I'm sure the crowd doesn't mind.
We want the kills, man.
Yeah, well, they got him this time around. There's they do! Now Trick and Perks too low on this one. Ivor trying to take the front line as Amazing just dives right into the back. Fates call Mithy through, and Perks is gonna be taken out. They just keep dishing the damage. The double kill for Amazing. amazing. That's the Kindred we expected. And Origen now can keep on shoving mid.
Everything falling apart for G2 and Origen, just picking up kills everywhere. Two guys try to get out of that shockwave, got pulled back in. And Power Vivo and the rest of Origen pushing down mid lane.
And keep on going. They've got the Rift Herald buff. They've got themselves an inhibitor turret at 18.5 minutes. Kikis is trying to draw their attention down bottom, but they've already sent Soaz to answer back, and he just can't get anything else on this one. Kikis is going to teleport away. Maybe not to safety, though. They're walking towards him.
Don't think this saw away TP2. We'll spot him now. Like, nope.
Not sure what that TP was, actually. But
I think he was expecting some people to show up bottom lane and catch him, and Iceborne Gauntlet Echo just chasing up a full lane and kill him.
Yeah, this is how it all started.
I like Power Reveal this series. This is the second somewhat bold shockwave we've seen. He's not afraid to make plays, and Origen as a whole seems very aware of tracking flash timers on the opponents, knowing when to go for these plays.
Yeah, after a play like that, Peke might want to stay on the couch for a little while longer.
I mean, I'm sure Peke is happy.
He's going to go low, though. Yep, boom. Perks is staying alive in this one, but it was a near miss. Now Sven will be taken out.
Okay.
Just like that, 2 more kills, and back to G2.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
I mean, it feels like every single time someone is lacking a summoner, everyone's like, all right, go for this guy. He's no summoner. Now it's OG's turn. Vivo, Sven, the same. Kikis does have flash available, but again, this Iceborne Gauntlet Echo.
Bring around the pillar.
And
there's
every time we get a replay, we also have a new death, so I want to see more replays. Hopefully they keep killing each other. Infinite cycle.
This is a strange game. All right, we're getting close to 20 minutes. There have been 5 towers for OG, 3 for G2. They're going to look for another one here, as Amazing is going to hold firm and send the dance of arrows just to keep clearing them away, and the Hurricanes are rocking. Here we go, on the hunt. It's gone. They look for Dragon, or they look for the fight. In goes Perks around the side, but Soaz throws the convergence down as he just dodges away from it here. Not taking that much damage on. Perks is still looking to try and get the chase down. Emperor, there is the Lantern back, and Hybrid comes straight on forward. Soaz trying to beat him down as Mythy is trying to escape. They're on 2 different wavelengths here. Now Mythy, he's going to get blown away in just a moment. Soaz still trying to chase down Perks. Oh, the shockwave pulls in Perks and takes him down to 0. Now Emperor, Mythy is still hanging firm. That's the double kill for Amazing, and the outplays from OG keep on
That's
coming.
just insane. He's just running around, getting Origen here. So many extra kills because G2 are chasing them. Ball onto Soaz, like, you go, man. You just go for it. He jumps in, shockwave, more kills now. Trick. You're not quite Mythy just yet. Mythy's still running away, by the way.
The synergy overall with this Orianna Origen is honestly utterly impressive. They're really committing to the play.
Wait, it's not done yet.
Really, I don't know who's calling it. Mythy going in for another hook here. But every time Power Evil says, okay, go. Power Shockwave on you. Soaz dashes in. Really good in unison overall.
I'm not sure what Mythy just called G2, but they really want to try and kill him. All right, we go in first, Perks. Call is okay, ignore the Echo, we're not gonna kill him in time, we can kill his support instead, squishy, you know?
Yeah, but the spacing here on Soaz too, he knows if he walks forward, the Lantern will pull him out. If both of them run, both of them die. So they're really understanding that Soaz needs to go aggressive to buy time for Mythy.
And then look here, ball comes onto Soaz, he knows if he jumps over, Shockwave will follow.
Good spell shield by Emperor. Mythy here,
down.
so this is the player of the series. Tries to go for kill steal. Of course his team ruins it for him, but that would have been the easy way out.
Well, he's not done, by the way. Oh, it's another fight, guys.
Perks. Oh, he's caught in the parallel convergence this time. And Soaz is taking a bat to his head. Gold card's on, but there's half the health gone. He's going to go for the teleport out, and he's out. Just barely. That's what this game has turned into. And now he just gets his back away. OG, man, they really have made up for lost time in this game.
I don't think Perks realized every time he's teleporting in, someone wants to kill him. So he's like changing the build a little bit, gets an early hourglass.
He needs his Zhonya's already, man.
That Messiah when he goes in. He needs the rest of the team to follow, though. And what was supposed to be like a split-pushing game for G2, where they were aggressive with the globals, it's been a game where OG are constantly forcing him to waste a lot of these summoners. Like, think back to the early game, gank and kick is, and suddenly Perks TPs in, instead of going for that bottom lane much earlier and avoiding this snowball.
Yeah, and Perks is being challenged on the notion of his champion pool being deeper than PoE's and Expect's combined right here. Brings out the TF, but it's not really working out in his favor so far. So hopefully, with the same side selection in the next game coming in too, we see another pick come out of Perks, or maybe a slightly finer tuned TF. Maybe it's a warm-up game. Hasn't played TF in a while.
Definitely been a lot of questions when it comes to the plays for G2. not being aggressive enough with the way they're using globals. But again, it's also credit to Origen for actually forcing some of these plays and getting G2 to react and waste cooldowns.
It's a key thing you mentioned it too, because it's a turnaround from what we saw last game with G2 making the often blindly aggressive plays, but all going in together. This time they've been holding off, and it's given Origen the chance to make the proactive moves themselves.
A lot of it started with mostly Mithy and Sven pressuring the map early, just drawing jungle attention to the bottom lane.
Yep.
Oh, let's see here.
Yeah, no, we got a fight on. Okay, Trick is trying to kite it out, but amazing was chasing him down here. Hybrid Trick still holding strong.
Yeah, I have a beautiful wave going on here in the stadium too. Crowd really enjoying this series.
Trust us, guys, it's definitely
A
happening.
lot more action than yesterday.
Oh, yeah. Already looking well on track to be a 1-1 if Origen can close this one out. 24 minutes is the time on the clock, but they just keep roving together. And that is another tower, number 6 for them. And G2 haven't even gotten the first tier mid.
No, nothing has been about the mid lane for G2 here. They lost the tower early. Kick is normal here. Twisted Fate would have joined, and you would have 2v1 killed that Echo and taken tower.
The tower tickles him.
But because Origen have been pushing them back on the map, and remember how early Origen invested 3 members to take that mid tower, telling Perks, yeah, you got to go even further back. We can now deep ward against you. We can see where you're going, and we can always react in time. They just did a lot of good plays early to force cooldowns and this early tower against the Twisted Fate.
Yeah, we may even see Perks' ultimate being used to spot people baiting the Baron here. Unless G2 actually fancy a bit of a face check. There we go.
It's on.
And that's just it. The pressure, the vision pressure, vision denial.
Oh, he's going.
Leads to that Destiny being
Up the
used.
top.
He's just farming. He's farming.
Yeah, that's the one time he hasn't really been in too much danger after the port. Key ultimate used right now. And now G2 are gonna breathe a little easier as they start to push down the mid and the bottom.
See the wave.
Quite coordinated here at the Ahoy.
They're just all saying hello. Hey, chill. Hey.
Saying hoi, hoi.
The Hoy Arena.
I like the name.
That's just one letter easier.
The one word I know in Dutch. Hoi. And G2 suddenly not feeling as confident in their aggressive plays. They still have a winning side lane, we know, with the Trundle.
If they use it.
Gets a little bit harder.
I mean,
the Echo
he's not
with
going to
USS.
kill somebody.
No.
Might have some pressure, that's
But,
about it.
I mean, push him off the tower and take the tower instead. Still works for you. But once you then get that last tier 2, it's very difficult to push for inhib, and that's where you often...
They're still playing around this Baron area, but nobody's really daring to go for it. Obviously, OG aren't the team to try and rush this down, and they know G2 can collapse on him if they get the opening. So it's a game of chicken.
Yeah, very consolidated in the mid lane right here now. The remaining 4 members of G2. Their main goal right now is not allow Origen to sneak the...
Oh, Trick runs right into this one, and there's the hook, the flash away from it all. And everything resets, but down to Summoner here on the hunt from Emperor. Looks to chase down Amazing, and he just clears the ward.
Still in the bot lane though, Kikis is putting pressure here, so both teams reacting to each other.
Up in the top.
Somebody needs to head down here, so Origen technically losing out on this play.
Yeah, there's no reason for Soaz to not sit in this bottom lane and just clear out this wave and delay the Trundle for as long as possible. Unless he was trying to be the man to set up the trap with a good W into a great stun.
Honestly, in a meta where 2 blue trinkets are available, Destiny is available, and 2 teleports, you simply have to start the Baron, especially if you have Ren stacks available to make that 50-50 into an 80-20. That's exactly what Origen's doing.
Comes in, they turn for Power of Evil, but that is a quick cleanse on this one, and this Baron is going way too low. It's already gone. They pull the Rens out of him. And that's a quick one for Origen. Decisive play to pick up the Baron buff.
And everything starts with Origen pushing G2 all the way back to their own base. So like, even though you can check with blue trinkets and TF ulti, they couldn't react in time. They were just so far back on the map, had to run through multiple pinks at first. Emperor wants you to farm Raptors, but Soaz
He really wants those.
not allowing him.
Trick's gonna take him anyways. G2 just trying to stick together, stay together, but Soaz has some other ideas for Trick, forces him to quick draw back. Still, the wave pressure's on. It's going to get even harder to deal with now that the Baron buff is on. See what they can do. Down on the bottom side, it's still pushing G2's way, but everything else is starting to go awry.
Very early mid kills from Mithy, saying, okay, your way of killing us is like the single target stun. Focus one guy, know he's going to stop it. Getting in an extra cleanse for his team.
Also, it just shows that he understands the role he has to play. Thresh in late game teamfight is not a frontliner. So many Thresh players who will walk up to the front of a teamfight, attempt to hook and get blown up. Mithy has to play kind of in the middle of the pack, lantern people backwards, and then just hook the front line.
Soaz has had not too hard of a time just to keep Kikis and everyone pretty much occupied here. Now the rest of Origen are going to move up towards the top side to try and use this Baron buff to its fullest to keep the siege going and crack the base of G2 Esports. But G2 are holding on for dear life here, and we'll see how where the roller coaster is going to swing.
It's still difficult against Graves, Waveclear, Sivir, TF. A lot of Waveclear from G2. But also Origen knows they go in and get a good shockwave. They can just win a fight.
Now, they cut power, and he does get yanked back with the lantern. And meanwhile, Kikis gets yanked himself. There's a big bout of damage, and Power of Evil does not press the button on the shockwave. He's still holding that one in reserve. Minions are, however, melting.
Yeah, Glenn's on cooldown, Mikhail's get used, fight gets reset, and every time G2 walk forward, they have the looming threat of that Orianna ulti.
This is where you pull the ulti as perks, and you go for that Orianna, stun it, then you pop your own Hourglass, and you try and set up that one kill for G2 when there's no way for Power of Evil to survive.
Ryu was actually really good on that. TF overall when he used to play it. Hook goes on Emperor.
Yeah, oh, he did not have the spell shield available in time, but look at Mithy. Power going too low, and they opt out of this one real quick after Hybrid throws down. No, they turn back in because there is a huge shockwave. Fate's call. Sven was holding it, or rather, I should say Mithy, but now they've got no more minions. They're still going to have to buy some time. Look at the mid, though. They've got minions pushing up through there with the dead inhib.
It looked good for G2, forcing OG off the tower, was setting up a play, and then a shockwave. Re-engage.
Trying to get the ace to try and end this one. Oh, but Origen, they're able to grab Hybrid on the back of that. They are incredibly low. And Sven is still in the back of the base. Snipes away Kikis now. And G2, they got in the front, but they didn't cover their own flanks. Emperor is going to get hooked in and taken out. So is unstoppable. They might be blinking health bars and power might be down, but Origen are looking to end.
Yeah, Neil, Sven, call him Dre at this point because everybody forgot about him, and he kind of cleaned up from the backline. Origen surprisingly winning that fight. Everybody was so low except Ben, who was hiding, just like Orianna was hiding that ball there for the shockwave. Right now, Swords on the siege, and the crowd, they're loving it.
Perks is coming in though.
Seconds, every single moment. Not one to waste, but the gold card's gonna follow onto Sven, and he has no chance. Neither does his support. That's gonna buy some time for G2 to try and rebuild the shambles of their base.
So they get a few kills, but we see how hard it is for G2 to start a fight, because even if they go in and like pull off a great TF play,
I thought the game was over.
Yeah, like this moving. They will defend.
And Soaz doesn't have that teleport. He would have gone in on that one. We've seen it before.
But again, we see how hard it is for G2, because even when there's no cleanse, no mid kills, they can't really die for Orianna, because then there's Kindred ulti. So unless you dive in and then you stun the Kindred and you kill her, then suddenly the Orianna is still alive, standing there with a lot of damage. Look at the shockwave.
Yeah, I want to see where the ball is being placed and then how Origen retreats. Yeah, they know the ball is there. Nobody spots it.
They forget about it. They just forget about it. They're all looking at the play.
That's such a rookie. Yeah, is it a rookie mistake? It's just so hard to keep track of 5 players and an Orianna ball, unless Orianna's moving it around a lot. So good Orianna players will just find a location to put it and make use of the zone that it gives you.
Might just possibly start to reveal. G2, they are new to the LCS this split, and they've made it all the way to the finals. But little mistakes like that might punish them and might rob them of the title, as Origen were very, very low in all of this, and then turned themselves on to Emperor to just keep it going. But this is one heck of a crazy contested fight.
And this is why you bring Exhaust and not Ignite, because that was a triple kill for Emperor, but he got exhausted.
Rip.
Now things have slowed down, reset for just a minute. Look at all that damage that Sven was able to deal. We were talking up rookie of the split.
From behind with an 80 carry.
They just kept doing it. This guy, I mean, here and that in the last summer, and they went all the way to the semifinals of Worlds, and he was a huge part of it. It's great to see him have such a massive impact.
That's more damage in one team fight than Forgiven did in Game 2 of yesterday's series.
Ooh. Ow.
Calling it out, Crepo. He's not even here to defend himself.
Take a look at OG trying to push down bottom lane. They are going to be spotted by the gate. Perks does let that go down on cooldown, so he's not trigger happy anymore, at least.
Origen, that doesn't really matter, or doesn't really care about being spotted. Just very simple move down to bottom lane.
They can't stop it regardless. G2 are going to try.
Teleport on the left side.
Oh, on the hunt. Okay, teleport is in. The box is down to try and zone away Trick. Slowed up for just a second. Kikis finds himself without backup for just a moment, but he is so damn tanky. Not maybe enough, though. That's going to force Hybrid to use the Glacial Fissure, and so is a little bit late on the TP himself.
I like
Fight
the
will
reaction
end.
though. Instant fate skull, Mithy, I choose you, gets thrown at Kikis and then just uses everything he can to slow the Trundle down. Trundle is really strong if he can connect to the AD carry. Origen was not allowing that. They forced G2 back without getting a kill, but then again, they take another tower. They chip away at the inhibitor. The base is in shambles for G2. One mistake here means they lose the game.
Origen just trying to keep pushing that advantage, not giving anything up. Gave up one game to G2. Pretty close to about this time, but the situation has drastically changed. G2 are starting to look more desperate, and with 30 seconds on the Baron, they might be circling that particular objective pretty soon.
Yeah, if you are G2, you're looking just kind of catch someone out of position at this point. You know, in the straight 5-on-5 team fights, it's very, very hard for you to do anything. We talked about all the defensive options from OG, and if anything or if everything goes wrong, you can always Kindred ulti as a worst case. And obviously the synergy between like Kindred and Kalista is always great. You just sit there and get more and more stacks in them, and when the Kindred ulti is down, you just press rend, cash in or 2 or 3 kills.
Yep.
So G2 are looking for a mistake, honestly. One guy from Origen overextending, you TP in onto him with this Lichbane TF now, finally packs some damage. But it requires Origen to make a mistake.
Yeah, and Perk's impact has been greatly reduced as well with 3 members of Origen being able to get out of these gold cards. You have a cleanse, QSS, and
Power Tide.
Power stuck.
Oh, he's got the Lantern. There we go. Still, half his health is already gone like that. And now G2, they're looking to try and press that momentary advantage. So as going for the quick back here. Destiny Gate's on. They turn their attention towards the fight. Fate Skull's out. Perks just gets bumped up, and he's taken out. Amazing with his 6th kill of the game now. And G2 are turning tail. Still fights on. Hybrid gets the Glacial Fissure. They are caught in a choke point here. Will it be enough damage though? Shockwave gonna land on 2. That's pretty big on the Trick. And they do back away from this one. It is still a 1 for none. But G2 keep on fighting it out. And now Trick might go down, but Soaz oversteps his bounds. Staying alive, no. Shut down by Emperor in the back. And OG now retreating. G2 spelling blood in the water. Amazing. Flashing, arrowing right back in for the godlike kill. It's just a game of cat and mouse, but I don't know who's who.
Well, right now Origen is definitely winning this fight. They're chasing for a few more kills, and once again it's Perks trying to go in and make that.
Oh no, Hybrid!
Hybrid's still alive, but not for long.
He stepped right back in, and that's gonna be another one. Amazing with a legendary kill.
Yeah, I think we found the mouse at this point. G2 running kill between their legs. Trying to get out of this one. Over chasing, honestly, over forcing the play, and some more disrespect on the ulti, but what a fantastic opening from it here. Good timing. Nexus under siege.
Yeah, looks like it might go down here, but not without a fight. Trick standing right in the Lamb's respite, but they just turn their attention towards the Nexus, and in a photo finish, will secure the win to tie the series at 1-1.
Much better game from Origen, and a big change in the draft. We talked about getting that strong 2v2 lane, range support, Kalista. Suddenly you can pick the Orianna, you can have some scaling in the mid lane. But still, to me, it was so much about Origen forcing cooldowns from this Twisted Fate early on teleport, because it was set in stone that G2 were going to make a big play in the bottom lane. It just came 4 or 5 minutes too late. Bottout almost died at that point. They already lost mid tower because they had to like react and go top lane suddenly, then cancel the TP, then flash being used, and everything got delayed.
Also just really good awareness and decision making in these fights. You know, teleport coming in from Twisted Fate. Yeah, but you can time that. You can immediately shut him down. Mithy, 1 time with the hook, 2nd time with the Fate Skull into stun. Like Perks had a Zonias in that last fight. He was spamming it.
Yeah.
But he just was not allowed any opportunity to use it. It was knock up into flame knockback again, and he was just straight up dead at that point.
Telegraphed, I mean, OG just keyed off him the entire time, and we're able to keep him on the down. It was so hard for G2 to come back after those really ridiculous plays.
Yes, I mean, there was so much action in this game here.
I liked it.
I loved it. Every time we had a replay, we came back and there was another fight happening, and some of the players lose some focus, you know, randomly they're overextending and dying on their own. But again, that's part of it. Once you have these crazy games, you gotta be able to keep it under control and always talk about, we just made one play, what's the next play?
Yeah, pretty much. And this is the thing for OG too. They've had a lot more time. They've had Worlds experience. They have players that have been around the block a little bit longer, and you can see them being able to react to the chaos a lot better than G2 have. They seem flustered.
I mean, in terms of chaos, you know, former Unicorns of Love, Power of Evil.
Yeah, he brought it.
For me, yeah, he brought chaos, but he also just brought a lot of control. Like, he has a lot of growth in him as a player so far this split. At the start, I was not convinced by PoE. I honestly thought Origen, did they make a mistake? But then they had faith and they continuously put support into PoE. And this series, he just played a lot better in game 2. Some of those Orianna ultis were really slick, really smooth, and just no hesitation on them. Any fraction of a second later, and they would be complete whiffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. With that, though, we're going to go and send it back to the analyst desk. Take a look at how Origen fired back.
Thank you so much, Pyrotechnics. There we see at the cup that they're all fighting for, and Origen fighting back, getting it into 1-1. Let's take a look at the picks and bans, because you guys here were very vocal about the top lane matchups in particular, and the not Maokai being picked up in the end, probably.
Yeah, Trundle is going to be good for your like selfish top laners mostly, especially if you're looking to pick the TF, because I assume once Lissandra was banned and Ori was picked, they automatically knew they wanted TF. So when you're picking the TF with the Trundle, it's kind of like, cool, Trundle's going to push, and then you're going to dive with TF. But the thing is like, Kiki's isn't a loud top laner that asks for ganks or asks for roams or anything like that. Most of the time, Trick spends his time in their bot lane. So it just doesn't really make sense for G2's playstyle. You know, they've never really played around top or focused it that much. So when you pick the Trundle over, you know, a Maokai in this instance, it's like, well, Maokai's going to do more with less gold, and he has like hard CC. Like, put him on that.
And certainly, you know, Kikis was aiming to go for that split push style a little bit more in that later part of the game. But Febby, we were talking a little bit during the game about the Twisted Fate itself, because Fnatic banned it out quite a lot in your series yesterday. Maybe you can give us an insight as to why Twisted Fate is a different beast in the middle lane to play around and play against.
On the red side, it's a really good pick into Orianna, for example, because you force her onto clans, and that means that you always have a global pressure. So if you pick Twisted Fate with winning top lane, winning bot lane, you can always assist them, because you're gonna do fine against Orianna, and then you can just dive the bot lane, dive the top lane, depending on which lane is winning. And this game, Twisted Fate lost his tower really early, and from that it was just he couldn't really make any plays, and then it was just Clown Fiesta.
Clown Fiesta. I do want to touch on the triple TP versus the single TP. When we had one of the Origen members on the desk, I think it was Mithy, he said, well, in the end, or maybe it was Soaz, well, in the end, if you have a single TP versus 2 or 3, but you outplay them, you end up being a lot better on the map. How do you see that, Prolly?
I don't know. It's really up to how fast the teams like can play. Like who's going to be like actually ahead of the play or actually planning the play. Because even if you plan to counterplay something and you have a single TP, you will still get more by either like getting a turret or getting pressure out of it. And it's mostly about planning. So if you're really good at kind of predicting the opponent and just like reading what they're going to do, you're fine. If on the other hand you're really aggressive and you can actually read out how the play will go, it'll be really good. So it's no like clear advantage. I would say most of it's going to go towards a double TP because you have a lot more options.
Yeah, a lot of options, but we did see Origen start to read the plays a little bit more as the game got on. G2 certainly got caught out a little bit more than they started to. Specifically the fights where they're TPing in with the TF. This was one of the plays that really turned the game though for everybody.
Yeah, we see Perkz actually repeatedly getting caught out here after he had such a good game on LeBlanc. Is that maybe also what spawned him being at the wrong place at the wrong time?
I think he doesn't have I don't think he's really that comfortable on Twisted Fate. I think this is probably the champion he didn't practice that much compared to like the real assassins where he had like insane lane pressure. And yeah, he just made some bad decisions and got caught out.
Yeah, I mean with like TF and Ryze, you want to flank TP, but if you're the pure flank, normally with double TP, this is where double TP works great because you have your tank with you. But when you're like flanking with a TF or something, like without Zhonya's early in the game, you just get insta turned on. And I know everyone's played against Thresh in their life, and TF against Thresh is like super anti-fun. Like he's just gonna wind up the hook and insta CC you. And with Kalista, he gets an extra knockup. So he should know when he's playing TF that he can't initiate without Zhonya's, especially if he's ganking the Thresh. However, ganking that Echo with the Trundle kind of makes sense, kind of never happened.
Yeah, it didn't really happen all that often, and another difficulty in this game was kind of Amazing's Kindred had a really good performance as well. Again, with the TF you port in, try and take one person out, and suddenly there's a Kindred ultimate. That's not so good. You try and take out an Orianna, and suddenly she shockwaves you, and basically wins a fight every single time. And PoE got some pretty easy shockwaves off in this game. 3 people walking onto a ball. Febby, we were sat there like, man, you're not really going to get too much better a shockwave opportunity than that as they came forward.
Yeah, it's just Gamers 2 were trying to force all the time, so they were just going in. And Oriana is really good against this kind of plays. Like they're just walking into the bar right now, and yeah, you cannot do that because you would just get killed.
Yeah, you just die. And a lot of kills, though. I'm actually very happy that it is. No offense to yesterday's games, of course, that were a little slower, but it's nice to have a full arena here and have a lot of kills as well. And you were saying, Fevin, oh, I wish I was playing right now.
Yeah, yesterday it was like 25 minutes of farming, 30 minutes of farming, and then there was one team fight, and then we ended the game. And this game is like 20 kills or something in 20 minutes, and I know it's just super fun to watch. And yeah.
Yeah, I hope it keeps on that way. Hopefully in the full 5 games, rather, because the fight for the Spring Championship is tied at 1-1. Stay with us. Game 3 is coming your way in just a few minutes.
Great. Lucas, say it, man. Say it. Say my name.
Heisenberg.
I think we lost first game, guys.
Soaz is actually taking quite a lot of punishment here, and that's the flash forward by Kikis. First blood. Oxen, they turn their attention on to Sven to try and take him down. Kikis clubs him to death, and now Mithy's gonna follow. Soaz still trying to chase down Perks. Oh, the shockwave pulls in Perks and takes him down to 0.
Okay, no mind. I can.
Mr. Pivot, most likely for me.
Lantern.
I can run, I'm behind him, boys.
Here first.
Blue arm. I have nothing. Good job.
Do it. Hit the Nexus.
Yes! And in a photo finish, will secure the win to tie the series at 1-1.